All right, good morning, Monday morning. Glad to have you all here this morning. First of all, wanted to thank all the new subscribers. There's been quite a few these last couple weeks. So glad to have you here at House of Prep. My name's Jerry, if you're still getting to know me. Hopefully, you've kind of gone back and caught up in some of the videos and kind of get to know me just a little bit. Very diverse channel, lots of different topics. We like to have a lot of fun here. But today, wanted to talk about E.M.Ps, electromagnetic pulse. And what kind of got me thinking about this is I got an early Christmas present. Actually three. It's books, and I've been wanting these, and I asked for them for Christmas, and wanted to talk about them. And the first one, it's by an author. I guess his last name, I'll try to pronounce it. His name's William Forstchen, and I probably butchered that name. Sorry, William. Uh, this is a New York Times bestseller. The first book's 1 second after, and I'm going to talk about it here in just a minute. But let's talk about an E.M.P, electromagnetic pulse, and what that means, and where we're headed with that. Electromagnetic pulse. Let's just be honest. America has a lot of enemies. Okay, whether you can say Russia, you can say North Korea, and I'm losing stuff. The wind is whipping out here. So there's a lot going on with our world. And a lot of times, we live our day-to-day lives and we forget that our nation does have a lot of enemies. And it has a lot of people that would love nothing more than to destroy our country. And that's you. That's me. Uh, this is our country. And one of the items that an enemy would use would be that E.M.P. And what that would do is it's a nuclear device that would be detonated over our country, and that pulse, that nuclear bomb, that pulse would then generate across miles and miles over the land, and it would knock out electrical grids, could knock out vehicles, anything that's power related, electrical related. It could knock it out. Though the effects aren't necessarily harmful to us humans, where it would harm us is it would knock us back to the Stone Ages, is the potential of these. The threat was also again recognized a little over a year ago from our White House, when President Trump addressed an E.M.P. Attacks again, and more precautions for our country to defend itself, and to put more things in place that would help eliminate that threat. So again, this isn't something for you to stay up late at night worrying about from day to day, but it's something that you need to have tucked in the back of your mind, that it's a potential. It's a potential that you could have an electromagnetic pulse detonated over our country, and how that would that affect? Well, let's just think of a couple little things here. Medical facilities knocked out, all the electrical equipment, things in our medical facilities knocked out. Our first responders and their ability to be able to respond to crimes, to attacks, to critical medical situations, that could be taken away from us. Financial institutions, all the electronic data keeping. Okay, what about banks? What about your finances and investments and stocks and things that are all of a sudden can be eliminated and maybe put on hold until the effects of this could be fixed, ramifications of it. And what about the water and food distributions and all that would shut down? The whole network of distribution would be shut down from the electrical shock wave that would come through and destroy the electronics of vehicles and things. Communications network down. I mean, we rely on our phones for everything, our Wi-Fi, for calling and all the accessibility through apps and social networking, and everything could be shut down from one of these. And all of a sudden, we're in the dark. You're not communicating with everybody. You're not able to watch the news. You're not able to flip on Fox News, CNN, local channels, and see what's the update and what's happening in the world. It would be shut down. Transportation, we briefly talked that would be shut down. Transportation, your normal commuting and going to work would be shut down. But one of the biggest things is our transformers, the big power units that we depend on, that transforms the power and brings them to our households and to our places of business. the transformers and things could be shut down. And those aren't just easy to order. If the entire country's transformers were shut down and destroyed, we had to replace every single transformer. There's not enough transformers in a warehouse to replace the country's this would knock us back for years. So, though not directly affecting to our health, you can already start to use your imagination that we're in trouble at that point. And people aren't dying from this blast itself, but people would be dying from the after effects and how that people handle the situation and the rioting and the chaos and the violence that could be taking place after an event like this. It would become a lot of people for that every man for themselves mentality. Again, that's not what we train ourselves to be, but unfortunately in the world of sheep that we live in, there would be a lot of that, and there would be the time and place that we would have to defend ourselves, and you would be relying very heavily upon your preps at that time. So if you're new to prepping, don't let this, again, we're not trying to keep you up at night. This isn't something that's a fear tactic. This is just something that does exist. And again, we talked about the White House even acknowledging that there's an ongoing risk, and that we need to continually be working on our hard network in America and in our grids, and we need to be putting precautions in place and protocols in place. So it's already been acknowledged that even maybe a small threat or potential of this actually happening, there is a chance that something could happen. So again, my whole life, I've always been one who likes to imagine things, and that's what kind of got me into prepping years ago. Is you always imagine things and things that could happen, and whether it's something that's truth, fiction, science fiction, no matter what. I still like books. I like reading. I like the imagination of what could take place, because if it can take place, if you can imagine something taking place, then the reality is it can happen. If you can imagine it, and us as human beings, that's how we've invented anything. That's how we've come up with all the vastness of electronics and the web and all the vehicles and all the just the things that we own and we hardwire into our house, and all the things that we've done. All this stuff has been imagined. People have invented things. So if people can do things for good, people can do things for evil. And as you and I, and like I was saying, that I like to imagine, and I like to think of the what ifs and the how do we prepare for these things. So by reading books and things of other people's imaginations, coming up with a story. In fact, I've got a minute here. Let me just read the back of this book for you. It's called 1 Second After. I'm sure you can Google it. Again, put in the comments if you read these books, and as we're talking here and you're thinking of this E.M.P. and you've got some ideas and opinions about it, hey, flood the comments. Put your ideas out there. If you've had some situations maybe you've dealt with through the military or things that hey, give us some tips on this. But let me read the back of this book just so you kind of see what it's about. 1 Second After is the story of a man's struggle to save his family and his small North Carolina town after America loses a war that sends our nation back to the Dark Ages. A war lost because of a terrifying weapon, an electromagnetic pulse that may already be in the hands of our enemies. And that's something that is a truth. There are out there. This isn't a make-believe item that's out there, but this story is a made-up story. Months before this publication of this book, it was cited on the floor of Congress as a book all Americans should read. It has been discussed in the corridors of the Pentagon as a realistic look at E.M.Ps and their awesome ability to send catastrophic shockwaves throughout the United States, literally within seconds. So I'm not going to read the rest of this for the sake of time, but you can kind of already see that if this were to happen, it would be a matter of seconds. You would not even really have much forewarning, if any, and all of a sudden, boom, ready, go. And then what are you going to do? So this is just another reminder that there are enemies. We do need to prepare, and we prepare for everything, not just, sicknesses from America, not just shutdowns in America, not just our grocery stores out of toilet paper. Okay, there's some potential greater problems that are out there. Now, real quick, what kind of things can we do to prepare for that? Well, if you Google and research Faraday cages, that can protect some of your electronic devices. However, in my mind, I'm imagining if I've protected some of my electronic devices, nobody else has any. What good are mine going to be if I can't communicate, or if the towers are down, and like my cell phones? And so, but there are some ways that you can protect some electronic systems and things. So maybe CB radios and different things of communication at that point. So Faraday cages is something you can research. This video is not about that today, but that's something I wanted to bring up. So the other thing you can do to prepare is kind of old school tactics. Okay, going back, things without technology. Learn those skills. Keep practicing those skills. Go back to those old school stuff, the ways of going back and doing things without all these fancy gadgets and things that we now have at our disposal. So, food for thought, something to consider. I was excited to get these books, so that kind of got my mind going. And once that gets going, you don't know what happens. But take time, research that. If you've never heard about it, don't get scared about it. But you need to just understand that that is something that's a potential living where we live. That there are enemies, and that you never know. And again, put your ideas, comments in. If you have other books that you recommend, hey, put your other books in the comments. I'm always looking for something new to read. After I get these will take me a while, but I'm always looking for something new to read. So hope you all have a great rest of the day. I appreciate your time. And hey, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe and join our little family here. And don't forget to read the comments. I love reading the comments, and so many great tips and ideas and things, especially this last few weeks. So much going on in the comments section. If you're not reading the comments, you're missing out. So I will talk to you guys later. You have a great day.